Young girl lost in Siberia for days is forced to take extreme measures to survive. At only 15, Svetlana Avai wanted already to break the continuous routine with her family in the frigid northern Siberian place, Gaidan Peninsula. Svetlana and her family herded reindeer for a living. Shepherding instilled Svetlana with a deep confidence when it came to navigating Siberia's rough terrain. During summer, Svetlana's brother was sent to a camp without her, leaving her to boredom and the absence of fun. Luckily, he was not that far, just 4 miles away. When Svetlana figured she could make the journey in no time at all, and that she could join in whatever her brother was up to, she set off to visit him. She was traveling alone and without any kind of navigation aids, but she was far from being worried. She was used to navigating around, so surely going a bit further would not be much of a problem. Hours started to pass, and Svetlana started to panic. She should have made it to her brother by now, and yet she stood in the middle of the wilderness with no people or buildings in sight. Meanwhile, her family back home grew concerned. Svetlana had never gone out alone for such a long time. Her uncle Ivan, knowing that time was precious, called in friends, family, and neighbors to look after her. They could surmise the rough direction in which Svetlana had headed, but that knowledge only went so far. She could have gotten lost and found herself in the way to any other heading. Unfortunately, that's precisely what was happening. After a night out on the prairie, Svetlana could not tell where she was, with other issues pressed on her mind: survival. Svetlana was certain her family was on the way, but also she knew it could take a while until anyone arrived. Starting to feel weak, she luckily detected half-frozen and unripe cloudberries. As more time passed, Svetlana kept moving. She continuously looked over her shoulder, for she knew dangerous beasts lived out on the tundra. Arctic wolves would usually go after stray reindeer, but they would gladly accept a lost little girl as their meal. Svetlana grew so weak that she could no longer walk. Nevertheless, the will to survive kept her going. Praying that some help would soon arrive, she began to crawl on her hands and knees. Her uncle Ivan continued the search, but there was not any indication of Svetlana, who went missing for over 2 weeks before he spotted some brown bears and even wondered if a bear had hunted her down and dragged her off to its den. Alarmed, Ivan walked around an area just 7 miles from their home. Then, without warning, he spotted a figure on the horizon. It ambled toward him. Without thinking, he ran towards the shape and hoped for a miracle. It was Svetlana. Her body was weak and wounded. Miraculously, she stayed alive. Ivan resisted the urge to scold her for leaving the house with no permission, and mostly on her own, and arranged for a physician to examine his niece. Living in such a remote part of the Gaidan Peninsula, Svetlana did not have access to a full medical staff in the immediate vicinity of her home. A helicopter arrived to carry her to a hospital. Once aboard, she shared her incredible story. Svetlana's story was unbelievable. If not for her good reflexes, Svetlana would never have survived out in the wilderness. She managed to somehow live on the few fruits and water the tundra offered. Doctors found no sign that her life was in danger, but Svetlana's family preferred to keep her in the hospital in Tuzovsky to fully recover. After this episode, it is certain that the 15-year-old girl would not mind staying home ever again.